Hey, and welcome to the Mountain Cat Guitars podcast, where we discuss all things guitar related. My name is Doug Meyer, owner of Mountain Cat Guitars, and I've been buying and selling guitars professionally for over 25 years. From boutique guitar and amp builders, vintage guitar dealers and experts, guitar repairmen and luthiers, retailers, manufacturers, and of course guitar players, we talk to the people who buy, sell, play, and of course obsess over the things we love most, guitars.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. This is a joint podcast. We have Gio Loria in from Los Angeles from Black Bolt Amplification and Custom Guitars. It just read us.
Thanks for having me.
And we are at the fabulous Guitar Shop in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. This is James Carbonetti. Hello. This is his place. And his place. This is Eric from Labella Strings. And we are always psyched to be here. We haven't done a podcast in a while. This is kind of all of our podcasts. I would just like to thank Andrew Follett for supporting my podcast, and Bob's used Helicopters, who has been my biggest sponsor. He's just awesome. Thank you, Bob. And let's get right to it. So Gio is in from Los Angeles, and he builds amazing amps, and we have a few of them around here, and he now builds amazing guitars, and we did a guitar project together, which we have two of them here, which we're pretty excited about. And James has some guitar stuff, and there's always stuff going on at Labella Strings. So, Gio, would you like to say it?
Thank you guys for having me. It's amazing to be here. Amazing to be in New York. New York's such a crazy, wild place.
A lot of traffic.
Streets with construction and parking and traffic and chaos. I don't know how you guys do it.
It's in our blood. They drink a lot. Born and raised.
I mean, LA's pretty crazy, but it's...
That's what we were saying. We're like, oh, they're from LA. They must be used to this somehow.
I think New York's
different.
I think LA's worse.
Well, because you live here.
Exactly. Every time I'm there, it's the sludge.
It's pretty wild. No, it's great to be here. Great to see you guys again. Always a pleasure. So let's just talk about...
So you've been on a bit of a journey, right? I mean, you didn't come straight to New York from LA. You stopped in Nashville, right?
Yeah, we backlined to stage in Nashville.
Yeah, what was the event there? Like, what did you do?
It was Americana Fest, the Americana Awards and all that. So we backlined a show there. It was like an all-day, I did an evening show, and all Black Bolt amps were on stage.
Cool. Wow.
So they were running for like 9 hours straight. Hot tubes, hot Nashville, like cooking. So I had some fans behind the amps and stuff to keep things cool. And I had a bass amp that was shipped here that was smashed in shipping. Crazy.
But also recovered.
Yeah, I just... See you later. We'll use it tonight and listen to it.
We just had a mutual artist on stage with Neil Young play in New York at Jones Beach Theater. Of course, our boy Corey McCormick, the champion. It was really special to see your amps and all of our stuff together on stage, being played with the Chrome Hearts. Amazing. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's an honor to be included in that.
Yeah, you can see them right there.
Yeah.
You look at anywhere, but there they are. They're beautiful.
Yeah. So Corey and I have been working together for a while, a few years. And I made, he actually inspired me to start making basses because I was just doing guitars.
Yeah.
And then when we started using that Hollywood Bollwood, he was like, man, you got to make me a bass. Let's do this. It's like so legendary. So we did one of the basses for Corey, and his seat number, I believe, was 44 or 48, which he just shot a picture of his bass.
Saw this too.
At the Hollywood Bowl, the Hollywood Bowl literally just a couple of nights ago. Black Bolt amp was on stage, his bass was on stage, super awkward. But he was like, you got to make me a bass. I said, all right, let's do it. So I made him a bass, and it came out really great. It's kind of a Telecaster style bass. It's awesome. With a really deep in the back, and that Curtis Novak pickup. It's a big, one of those big fat kind of mudbucker pickups.
I love that.
It's got the two coils.
Tap them, yeah.
We wired it 4 ways, so it's like the bridge, even though it's one pickup, it's like the rear or bridge. It's the 2 in parallel, the neck, and then the 2 in series. And the 2 in series sounds like the mudbucker, just hiking amp. It's loud. It's really fast.
Those pickups are great.
Yeah, really, really cool pickup. So it's got that pickup in it, and redwood on the back of the bass, the Alaskan Mellow Seal on the top, which is the bulge board from those extra angles.
What you do, the through body construction on that? Or was it the top load, the bridge?
We did the through body, with Bellas, of course. And I'm gonna say it on camera, on the record, because I say it all the time to you guys and people I know, but I've tried, because of the person I am, I'm very much a tester, a scientific person. Like I'll try 10 different versions or something and find the 2 or 3 I like and continue using those and hopefully find the one that I really love and continue using that. So with the strings, the Labella, I was trying all kinds of stuff, tomastics and roto sounds, all that, and trying different stuff on the basses. And putting the Labella flat ones on, it was just phenomenal because a lot of times with flat ones, you lose a lot of the top end and definition.
Yeah.
But with the Labellas, it was like you get the clarity and the definition and the talk that most, I mean, there were some like pipelines out there that just don't feel right, but these strings just have such a balance. And I was just like, I'm done. That's my string.
It's great.
Love the Labella flat wounds, the deep talking bass. It's like really a fantastic string. Like, I don't know what you guys done, but you've been doing it for generations.
Yeah, sure.
Which says a lot.
I mean, it has a lot to do with the construction and material we use. So stainless steel is pretty bright steel, but in the flat wound like form, it gives you that nice low end, but retains a little simple.
I always think it's like a presence knob on an amp.
Yeah.
With those,
What's that?
because I only use flats on guitar. So they will cut your head off.
That's crazy.
If you let it,
crazy.
because they're stainless at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then, like you, it's like I've played all of the flats, and there's nothing like the construction feeling of it, of how smooth they are, too.
Yeah.
Just like the ribbon on it.
Normal flat sounding guitar just make this feel bad.
Yeah.
It's like this was a good sounding guitar, now it's a bad sounding guitar.
Yeah.
You know, those make it like flat.
Yeah.
Like, it's flat wounds. Because yours could, I always pick up your guitars and they have flat wounds.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a
It's like that junior.
Yeah. You're like, oh, wow, that's right. It's a flat. It's like flats don't automatically sound muddy.
No, that's what everybody thinks.
Right, because they are mostly.
And people also forget, there's also an EQ on an amp. It's like, oh, this guitar is dark. It's an electric guitar.
Yeah, Rude.
Yeah, it's that. But it's always about trying weird stuff.
So with Core's amplifier, this Blackbolt amp, it's what I call the Sequoia bass, which is my bass amp. We have one here. With Corey, what I did was, when he started working with Neil, he said, I don't think I want to do the really big solid state digital power thing. I want to kind of tone it down. Neil's not wanting to be as loud. So we tested some stuff, and we were testing tweeters and crossovers and frequencies of crossover to give him more or less high frequency control. And in the end, believe it or not, we didn't even use the tweeter. We just stepped away and we said, I don't need a tweeter. I don't need this real bright, modern sound. And with the Labella strings and the bass and everything, he's got I believe your strings on everything. He's got some hung wounds.
Yeah, he's got
super polished.
Yeah, He loves to play different stuff.
So with the amp, the one he has now it's a 115. It's a really high powered 15. And it's got presence and treble and bass and everything, and it's got a boost channel to give it a little bit of grip, a little more talk. But ultimately, he decided, I don't need the tweeter because it all sounds balanced enough without the tweeter, which is really amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's all the full frequencies there. He's not really playing slap bass and super top end and super modern stuff. So
that's a testament to like all those different components equal. Yeah, goodness.
Yeah.
But you realize everything matters. Everything matters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big, like what if it shaped, but like every single thing matters.
yes.
Yeah. Like now I've been on this like capacitor resistor thing and pots and all that, and Geo's really good with that. Adding that, of course, so and you realize, oh my god, we just switched the pickups in a guitar but left the same caps. So it would sound better, but it doesn't really sound that good until you start looking at everything that's involved.
Right.
Like everywhere that signal goes through is going to make a difference. And everyone used to say, oh, the pots don't matter because if you just put them on 10, they're not engaged. Yeah. But that's not true at all.
But on 4, the guitar sounds awesome.
Right. We just saw that on your guitar, which we'll play around with. But now I'm really into that thing. So you have this tone lead circuit, and people have different ways of doing it. You have to literally test it in real time, which is amazing. But that's just where, because PAFs sound like they're good, of course, but if you just put them in a reissue Les Paul with the same caps, you're not really getting everything out. You're missing about half of the stuff.
Right.
It makes a huge difference.
Right.
But there's still a whole nother mess of stuff. So you let an amplifier, imagine every single thing that signal's going to run through is going to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So each person's going to be different because if the strings matter that much, it's going to change the amp.
Right.
Molly would always say, it's like, she's like, I would be so freaked out. Everyone collects guitar but doesn't think about an amp.
Right.
The amp is more like 60% more.
It's a kind of important part of it. Like, it's true. People buy guitars and then they like the Blue Steville. They're like, doesn't it sound great? And you're like,
Sure.
No. Sorry.
Right.
I can't say yeah.
Yeah.
They don't sound terrible. But, but
There's a place for it.
they'll go buy a $20,000 guitar and play through a very amp.
Yeah.
Or my 10 10,
I think a lot of people really underestimate or don't even think about the importance of the amp because the amp is such an important.
if you go, it's a Fender.
It's like an
It
instrument.
has tubes.
Yeah.
People go, it's a tube amp. Like, no, it's not a tube amp. It has tubes. But it's not a tube amp.
Yeah, it's a printed circuit board and cheap component.
But you have to go along through the process to learn all of that.
Yeah.
I always just say it's like wine. Like all wine to me just tastes like wine. It doesn't taste, I have no knowledge of it whatsoever. So, most wine tastes good. But I couldn't tell it's between $10 bottle and a $30 bottle. Some people really tell that. So
Well, I think it kind of comes back to this theory I called it 10,000 hours theory, which is about the fact that until you put 10,000 hours into something and really master it, you could give 10 different people a job to do it. And you're going to get 10 different results. With somebody who's done something thousands of times and knows it intimately, you're going to get better results, whether it's fretting a neck or finishing a guitar, building an entire guitar, building an amplifier. It's like once you've gone through that so many times, hopefully
you start to get better. Some guys are good at the beginning, but you're naturally going to get better at something. Like that was our thing. Like, it should get better each time you do.
Yeah.
It's about fairly obvious, but it's all like the 10,000 hour thing. So it's something like 10,000 hours. You've done that 10,000 times.
Yeah.
I've been selling guitars since I'm 13.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of guitar.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't mean that I know more about a guitar than the next guy. It's all very subjective. I know certain facts, and I know, like when people go like, they'll show you like a quilter amp and go like, doesn't it sound just like a Tweed champ? And I'm like, it sounds nothing like it. Do you have you ever played through a Tweed champ? And they're like, no. If they're honest, and you go, okay, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice sound. But it doesn't sound like a Tweed champ. It sounds like a Tweed champ sound.
Yeah. I feel lucky as a builder growing up with you and like feeling the vintage instruments.
We look very lucky to be in a place where you saw it all every day.
There's a difference between that and like
That's the thing
on stage.
or using it in your house.
Yeah.
It's a very different app than hearing. That's why like up in Geocentric guitar, I use a rehearsal that day. And these things like we'll talk about those, but like they sit right in the mix of the band at half volume. Lower. They're perfectly clear. And most guitars you turn down, now I can't hear it, but I hit a boost pedal. You don't need a boost pedal anymore.
Yeah.
Just play at 5, and that's what all those old guys did. You can see it.
Yeah.
You can see Dwayne Allman play, and then your guitar's a solo pedal. Didn't have to boost pedal.
Yeah.
So, and your guitar, like, you turn that down to almost 3, it sounds exactly the same, just lower. But like a new Les Paul, you turn it down to 3, and it loses all the top, all the bottom, and it just left with this really terrible sound that you couldn't play with a band.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't do anything. So like, and those are good guitars to do that, but the old ones all seem to do that. The new ones all seem to not do that, unless it's a boutique guy looking to make it do that.
Yeah.
They don't do that just because you put some
But
caps
have
in
the
it.
knowledge of the old one.
Right.
Knowing what it does.
And knowing what it is you're trying to do, and the Geo say that, and you know this.
Try it
Matt
out.
knows that like the values to start messing with, and it's not going to be the same on every single guitar.
Yeah.
They fluctuate slightly, but like even the old caps fluctuate.
Yeah.
But that's what the magic is.
Yeah.
So like, but that's another level.
Yeah.
It's like
Through all of us, like even what chords you use in the string.
right,
You can't explain it, but it's a thing.
but it changes everything.
Yeah, so
So-
it could be the same gauge, but if you're doing a different material core, it brings in a whole different slew of frequency. So there's like such magic and strength I feel like people also don't think about. It's like a race car.
Right.
You get an F1 car, you're not going to put Nissan tires on it.
Right.
You're going to get the best.
Right. That's the thing that people do. They'll even if they buy a really good guitar,
They do it.
they just
we have
use
friends
whatever. I don't
who
want to
do
say
it
a point, but like just whatever large string company strings.
It's like going to Walmart and getting a suit. You're like, look at my nice suit.
Or it's like getting the best steak and putting ketchup on it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I taste good
Wow.
to you. At that moment.
Talking about
But the guy at the next table is going, look at this motherfucker.
But that's like where we're all obsessed with quality and the obsession of tone and the magic that comes with the right components and the 10,000 hours of spending the time listening to one part of 1,000 part
Right.
thing. That's where the difference is in your ear.
Well, part of my process is with the amps and with the guitars, because Doug and I have been talking about it recently, which kind of reopen this conversation, was I use these things called decade boxes. Decade substitution boxes are boxes with capacitors or resistors in it, and they move in like decades. So you have 1 ohm to 10 ohms, 10 ohms to 100 ohms, all the way up to like 100 k ohms, which is 100,000 ohms, and you can dial them up. So if I have a resistor controlling, say, plate voltage on a plate in the amp, and a standard value might be 100K, I can put that box there and be like, what's going to happen with this amp? Have it live, turn it on. It's a live circuit on the bench. Guitar, have a guitar in hand. Yes, alligator, clip the box in where that resistor would go, and go, let's see what happens if we did. And then we have a voltage meter on it, see what the voltage on the plate is, and say, let's take that decade box and go from 100K ohms to 110, 120, 130, 140. You're watching the voltage drop as the resistance rises. So I've spent years just listening to the amps and having these capacitance and substitution decade boxes and just manipulating every sound and every tone and seeing what it does. So I can literally take that resistance up to 10 mega ohms, which is almost no voltage.
Yeah.
So I'm saying you take a line, or like drop it way down and raise the voltage way up, whether it's the plates on the power tubes or preamp tubes, or like grid leak resistors are really powerful spots in the amp where the grid leaks off a certain amount of the signal to ground. So imagine if you hit your signal to ground, it kills the circuit.
Yeah.
It kills the amp. It's like when you take a pot and you ground it.
Yeah.
But if I take it, that grid leak resistor, and I go from, say, 100K to 200K, all of a sudden it's letting less signal go to ground. It's keeping more signal in the amp.
So you're stringing
Louder. It's louder. It starts to distort more, push the circuit more. Take it up the amp just instantly. You can be like, wow, now if I put that one at 200K and move this one over here, try that one at 2 or 3 or 400K. Like, it just manipulates the entire sound of the amp.
It's in the kitchen.
Yeah. So having those tools and having the understanding and being experienced enough to go in, obsessed in
Imagine that compared to a model like
yeah. So to be able to go in and
not the same thing.
Control the circuits on that level. It's like, I feel like someone's giving me the keys to the kingdom and said, here, have fun with it.
Right.
Create amplifiers.
Yeah.
And that just do that.
And then to get even crazier is the particle wood board wood of the amp.
Well, that's kind of the solid thing we just did with.
So there's tone in there that like
There's
it's
definitely
a voice. It's like your mouth. It's the voice.
It's like the soundboard on an acoustic.
So you use mahogany or maple, it's going to sound.
That's going to lead us right into the fact that there's a solid arena amp right behind
Oh!
that Gio made.
Yeah.
Just on one of our crazy conversations, I was like, "Do you ever make an amp out of Carina wood?" He's like, "No," and I was like, "Could you?" He's like, "I can make an amp out of anything."
Should I move the amp?
So
Yeah, well, it's from the...
that's a Carina guitar,
So there's one-
and that's what made the Carina amp cabinet. So there's a whole backstory behind these, but
So the Raven's a limited edition of a dozen guitars. We did 12. And that's one of the 12. And 13. Technically 12.
12 and one Phantom Nun. But the idea, like I saw that Gio was making Firebird style guitars, and I wanted someone to make me a Carina Firebird style guitar. So I called Gio. I was like, "Would you make me like one of those in Carina?" And he's like, "Sure." And then we kept talking, and it kept evolving into its own model, which they're not all Carina, but this one is. And now we were going to do a dozen of them. And then as Gio is buying the Carina, it was actually, you were on your way home eating lunch. And that's when it all came up. I was like, "Can you make an amp out of Carina?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'd have to go back and get more Carina." So
Literally just outside the wood yard.
like, I'll go back and get more. And this is a solid Carina amp, which I've never heard of anyone building. Like, maybe someone has, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so we're going to try it.
Unless you can see that on the camera. Yeah.
It's Carina. We'll take pictures.
Solid
and we can put it into the podcast. But it's a solid Carina thing. So
Yeah, I guess. I mean, are we playing?
we could plug it in. It's also a solid Carina guitar. It was plugged in. And I guess a non-Carina one, if we want to get really experimental, use the same guitar in redwood and some other types of things. Would you say with that one?
Oak pine, mahogany.
Right. And so if you really want to get deep into it, we can see if we hear a difference between the woods, or they're roughly the same sounding because they're built in the same way, or they're not. Straight go. Left. To left.
Oh, it's too off.
No, because the microphone's on there. I'm just gonna.
I'm so much volume.
That's true.
Yeah. But a heavy right hand.
Have it.
Say,
Don't click too loud.
no. Get this off the thing.
What was that? You look dark. Those are black.
And are these our good buddy from down the street from Labella's pickups?
Rob. And
Rob.
Gemini did the pickups. He did an amazing job.
I love Rob.
Rob is awesome. He's
So Rob's a knowledgeable person.
Very.
Yeah, he knows.
He's pulling apart hiccups and
He's doing the same thing with pickups as you were just describing with amps.
Yeah.
You know, like and all the pickup guys are in the suit. You know, like
But you better, if you're
well, you
a
better.
dirt
If
guy
you decide to make a
making
PAF,
stuff, or if you're making pickups, you better get it.
But there are these great guys now. Like, you know, that wasn't really the case. There used to be Seymour Duncan, Mars, you know, maybe one other company. Now there's 50 guys, and they're all good.
Yeah.
I never, like, had a premium pickup and put it in a guitar. I was like, wow, that sounds awful. Never once. They all sound good. It's just who's your favorite guy or whose idea of a PAF matches up with your idea of a PAF.
It's like restaurants these days, I feel like. It's like there's a lot of builders, there's a lot of stuff
No, it's like
made right now.
the golden age of guitar, because you can get a Gibson or a Fender still, but you can get something that's handmade by a guy who thinks a Firebird should have been more like this, and you agree with that, or that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Or people could just go buy a custom shop Gibson because it says Gibson and they know it's got a good resale.
Yeah.
And that's fine too.
It's all about
Nothing wrong with that.
experimenting. Yeah.
But there is just so much stuff. Like used to, if you wanted to change your pickups, it was Seymour Duncan or DeMarcy.
Can you play a little bit?
I'll head window. Just let me suck
I
that.
don't know if they really blow.
I just welcome that.
It doesn't sound
Got a very open top end.
Yeah, like Karina, I always think it's very clear sound. So if you tell, the guitar is Karina also, so tell exactly what's going on. That's very not loud. You know, it would open up a lot more, I guess. That. Not that. That was the game. Something. Because we were sitting behind it.
A lot of good stuff.
Probably sounds good. Yeah, you know. That's all right. Good.
Yeah.
You know, so
Punchy. You tell you can.
yeah, you know, but it's hard to tell exactly what's doing because it's all.
It's a combination.
Yeah, it's Karina guitar. Karina guitars I find are a little more focused anyway. Like when you play.
And this amp, as we were doing so much in shipping, I put a Neogen in that and speakers with Jensen Neo.
It sounds great.
So it's not the speaker that I normally use, but I do have a couple of Neotens that I like. So this 100 watt Jensen Neogen is a nice one. I can hear it in the overdrive, but overdrive's a little bit, it squashes a little bit, like a Celestian pre-back.
It's like cool.
Yeah, and then we got like thicker and rougher and just not that hard, but this is got a different thing. And it's light. It's like
Because if you would have
it's
asked,
like 32 pounds.
oh, because I use this person, oh no, that those two are not good. But you never tell an amp guy that. That just they know better.
And what's not good?
Right, because I always say, oh, you pick a speaker for it. It's like, I'm not really like that. Like, it's got to be this. That's my speaker. Like, this, even that same speaker doesn't.
Or the other amps that I just sent you as it ended. Celestian G12.
Yeah, that one sounds amazing.
What 85 to the 85, 70s, silver one plate.
Yeah.
Just to do so.
But this amp sounds great, and the guitar sounds great. So it's again, it's hard to tell. This is I've never heard the amp.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, but it'd be interesting to hear it next to the exact same amp made of different.
Yeah.
You know, if like, when you really hear
is at the end of the day, then it's got to be all of this thing.
Right.
Stuff. Parts, same speaker, same cable, same outlet.
that's where it becomes difficult.
What we talked about, and this piece of wood that I got for these amps, it was 2 inches thick,
Right.
14 inches wide, and like 18 feet long. It was a massive piece of wood.
This video is it.
So I split the wood in half. I put it on my bandsaw, split it in half. So I got 2 3/4 inch thick pieces of wood and then cut them into 2 amps. So we make 2 exactly the same. So we do, just for that reason of like, well, we got to do a couple of them. So I have one that's at the shop that isn't totally finished yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be the exact same wood cab.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But with a different.
I'll probably
Yeah.
very similar. We're the same.
it's just
Quite different speaker though.
like, you're like,
We
why
actually-
has no
yeah.
one done it? Why has no one ever made an amp out of Carino? The number one probably reason.
Right, it's expensive.
It's expensive wood.
It's solid. Well, most amps are.
Arm solid. Right. So, but like, wow, you know, it's like, I've never seen it.
And most people aren't as obsessed as we.
Yeah,
Like, we're obsessed with the history, the 58 fly ambulance.
I was just in Carino world at that
Yeah.
point.
Carina. It's like, let's do that. Let's do it.
Yeah, like that was so much fun. You're like, all right, I'm going back. Fuck it.
Yeah, I'm going back. You want it?
I was like, I'll take whatever you're doing.
I'm going back.
Let's make Carino amps.
You pedal that.
I'm going back.
Pedal.
Spend another $1,000 on Carina.
Oh, I came up with another Carino idea.
Oh, sure.
Do we say it?
No.
Nope.
Don't tell the world.
Yeah. Because someone will do it and be like, I'm smarter than this guy.
Guitar Korea too, or is it different?
That's not the same exact guitar, so that would be interesting to AB because that's.
What you use that alter?
No, this is
Pieces here, huh?
this is
They-
yeah.
This one is quite as many as they usually go. That's how they.
So it's built in the traditional style of a Firebird, which is they called it a 7-piece body. So it's got a center strip.
Unlike this one.
This one,
Yeah.
this whole thing is solid, but that one.
No, that's a 7-piece.
It's a 7-piece.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I can't tell.
Oh, actually, it's a 6-piece. I put 2 strips of white mahogany. So the it's a white mahogany.
But this piece is
1, 2, 3,
what?
4, 5, 6.
Right.
But normally it's a wider.
Right.
It's a wider strip. Then the 2 strips of white mahogany, and then the outside Williams.
Wow.
Normally it's 7.
Right. Yeah, I knew the center piece of this wasn't that many pieces.
Oh, I see. See, when we do Oleto, Black Limber Carina, we look for the stuff that is covered in the mineral stuff.
Oh, you like it?
Well, we get it just as much mineral vein and color going,
beautiful, too.
which is great.
Yeah.
You know, because we want it to like kind of stand out a little bit.
Yeah.
Look a little more exotic as far
Yeah.
as woods go.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, this is such a clean piece right here.
Clean. Yeah. Quite a lot of mineral. There was like.
We'll turn up the amp at the
We
end.
also have the bridge, big guy.
Yeah.
Ruined the test.
It's got less top end. My hair is as light as that green.
So what's about
Redwood. Yeah. It's pine, mahogany, white mahogany strips, and then redwood. So that's a true 7-piece ball.
Yeah.
We had to write on cue.
We're gonna live it together for the last 3 days.
They sound great.
They do sound a little different.
Yeah, very different.
That has a certain top end that I noticed.
Very
This doesn't have.
Yeah.
But this, like you said, punchy. It's got a more
Yeah.
just center
Very different.
mid range.
Because they all sound amazing. There is others that have looked more at my house. And it sounds different than this.
I just don't get enough big speakers all on me.
Well, there is a story behind that. I built one for myself that had a Bigsby.
Yeah.
That was what inspired the whole.
That's what started the whole thing. So
Fire-
the thing is, I just wanted a Carino one with a Bigsby, so of course we made it. And we were putting up pictures, and some guy calls, and he's like, I want to buy one of the guitars. And I was like, Let me guess. Like, oh no, I think you said the guy wants to buy your guitar. I was like, let me guess, it's the big screen one, right? He's like, yeah. I really don't want to sell that guitar. Like, but
Big shit on everything.
I spoke to the guy who was so amazingly cool. His name was Tim. Yeah, too.
Yeah.
And he was such a nice fellow. And he was like, "Oh, dude, it's gotta." Because I was trying to push him towards this one. He's like, "Oh no, it's gotta have the big screen." I was like, "All right, you're one of me." You know, like we're all good. You're having the big screen.
So this guitar was based on the Firebird, right?
Loosely.
We're gonna do a Firebird, and then they thought, you know what?
Yeah, but
Actually, the backstory behind it was, I ran into Leo Scala, and he said, Gibson from Earville. He did the whole collection. He did a collection of like the Flying V's, the Flying V's, had 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, he does Fortis, he does a lot of stuff for Slash. So I ran into him at G&G Case Company, and we started talking, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, here." And it was basically really close to a Firebird. And I checked out the guitars he was working on, and we chatted, and he said, just a little bit of friendly advice for what it's worth. He said, if you're building guitars this nice, he goes, it's a really nice guitar. He said, it's not a matter of if, but when Gibson comes knocking at your door with their legal department. He said, so you don't want to like build your reputation on a guitar that's that closely based on a Gibson guitar, because they do protect certain body styles, like the vegan Firebird. I said, wow, that's a really great point. And so that was that, and that was really cool. And I went back to my shop, and I said, you know what? I'm going to change this thing up. So I took the Firebird shape, took the Explorer shapes, and I said, well, I love the bulkiness of the Firebird. It's too fat and whatever. And the Explorer's got such a long arm on it, such a pointed front that's long. It's so like extreme in its right. And they're great guitars, obviously. They're legendary. But I thought, let me just do my own thing and change these up, change the headstock up and down, and make it original so that it doesn't copy one guitar. So I told Doug the whole story. I was in LA, he's in New York, and I was like, this just happened. And I was thinking about changing the shape, and he was like, I don't know.
I was like, "Don't." Yeah, like, because anytime anyone ever changes the shape, it sucks. So like, and so it does, because you're so used to the sticks. And he goes, "Oh, I came up with a shape. I'll send it to you." And it was coming in. I was like,
sent a picture of that.
I'm really not,
Really sorry. What's happening?
That's okay. And then I opened up the thing. I was like, "Whoa, that looks amazing." I was expecting to be like, "Gee, I can't live with this." And I was like, "Whoa!" Like,
and I was stoked because I'm like,
golf. You get so used to a thing, and if you like a Fender headstock, you changes it ever so much, you can't look at that guitar. Yeah, like G&L guitars, like, everyone loves G&Ls. They're better than Fenders all the time, but they have a different headstock. It freaks you out. But the second I opened the picture, it was just a drawing. And I was like, "Whoa!" Like, that's a cool guitar. Now I look at it sometimes if it's sitting next to a Firebird, I'm like, this is a more sleek design, actually.
Yeah,
which is amazing to say. It's a Firebird.
It's a little more petite in the way.
It really is.
No, the body's a little bit more petite here.
Yeah, it's
a little shorter here.
If you see them side by side, you'll notice how different they are. Center? Right here.
No, I think
I'll tell you, a Firebird.
I think this is slightly thicker than a Firebird. Thicker, slight, but like
it looks very sleek.
But it doesn't look as different from a Firebird until you see it next to a Firebird. You're like, oh yeah, it's done.
Yeah, we were talking about, I was like looking for it on our wall. He's like,
it's in there, yeah. But like, one of these sits next to one in my shop, and I'm like, now the Firebird looks kind of big and clunky. Like almost like if you see a sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Firebirds. They're my favorite guitar. Yeah. But it is weird when you look at this. I was like, this is kind of the way they probably should get it. Like, I mean, it's a lot to say. I don't mind to say. Did, but like a weird one. But
so there's a real Firebird big spot.
So you can see clearly it's not the same guitar. No, it's more Explorer-fied. It's an Explorer almost mashup.
This is really fat. The body's much wider.
Yeah, it's a Fire Explorer.
Yeah,
it's an Expirebird. It's a black.
Yeah, it's a black but so let's do a dozen. Let's do a dozen of them and see how it goes.
That's not bad, man. But it's a rate. Expirebird's really bad. It's really terrible. But
killer job, man.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
So that was the thing, and then we, just said we're just not going to make tons of them because I always find builders have a tendency to build, and they flood the market with the things, and so let's just make a batch, small batch. Chill, maybe do another batch next year. Yeah, if the demand really seems to be there, because it kind of takes the specialness out of it, and they sit on, the sales pages. Sure. Buys them and someone sells them really cheap, and then you're like, oh, that hard work I forgot to. It's like it's depressing to see, but builders want to build. It's understandable. But you have so much other stuff to build. You can build amps. So it's not like, I need to make 1 million of these because I need to buy a house or whatever. You know, like, but most guys just want to build. They don't understand what it'll just dilute the brand because the marketplace can't absorb it. And it sits on, you know, these places where people sell guitars.
They're really fucking good.
Unless they're that good. I've never seen a, you know, like, even
That's the
great,
plan.
well-respected builders. You go, say Reverb, and there's 40 of their guitars used. The marketplace can't absorb those 40.
For sure.
So eventually guys will start dropping prices. You know, some people don't seem to care.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're fine with that. Who cares? There's 40 used ones. I mean, someone bought them new at some point. But why would you buy a new one if you could buy a used one? It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah.
But,
Well, a lot of them are custom orders.
It's a balance.
A lot of them are like for builders or custom order
Right.
for somebody, and then they switch out or.
well, you got to realize when you sell a guy guitars, chances are he's not keeping this guitar forever.
Yeah.
You know, they'll say
that's the story.
This is my favorite guitar. I'm never going to sell it 2 weeks later.
We don't know the guitars.
Your page.
And I bought it new.
Right. But you know, a lot of guys do it with boutique guitars. They like to have them, and then they like to go to the next guy.
Exactly.
You know, so that's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But if they keep turning and they don't sell, it hurts the build.
And
You know, so
yeah.
you know, like Gibson doesn't care that there's a lot of used Gibsons. Maybe they do, but I don't know that. But you know, like, but they're not going to stop building Les Pauls.
So fun.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother world.
We had a very
Doesn't matter.
interesting experience where, you know, we're building our Olintos, and I reached out a little bit to the person I do a lot of business with strings, and I said, "What do you think of these?" And a couple of days later, they came back and said, "Well, I don't know. They don't seem that popular. I don't see any used market." So I said, "Nice."
That's
That's a good sign.
literally the exact opposite of the truth.
But in his mind, in like this odd buyer's mind, it's like, well, I guess if they're not a lot out there, they're not popular because no one is buying.
That's the opposite.
And we were like, everybody wants this,
Yeah.
you know, because it was about, when you say like almost 10 years to the day where all of a sudden we started seeing our instruments for the first time being sold on like a reverb. as a
Yeah.
used instrument.
It's got to happen eventually.
Or based on.
Actually,
But if there's not 20 of them out there,
Yeah.
right?
a little over 10
So if there are 40 of them used right now, I could think of a lot of really good builders where they're 45 used of their guitar. If you have one,
yeah.
people are keeping them.
Yeah, people looking, and then we learned they were keeping them or trading them amongst the
Themselves.
professional
Yeah.
unit.
Right.
Like, Joe, I have to have that.
Right.
There's a lot on
So
the
having a lot of used guitars is the opposite of good.
Yeah. But there's like a lot on the floor.
That's bad.
So
Because who's going to buy a brand new one of that when you could buy it for much cheaper and no one's buying it?
yeah, from a string maker's perspective, getting into like the instrument, but I've had very, very good resources around me teaching me things. It was interesting to see that, you know, and it was organic.
But it's weird that somebody thinks that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but it's like anything. If you never dealt with this, that's logical. It's just not true.
Yeah.
Because
We know how many we made that
the
year.
guitar business is a weird business. You know, it doesn't necessarily. That's why people come in. They're like, "Oh, I'll put all the money into this and I'll do this," and it never works because the guitar business is its own little thing. And if you haven't been doing this for your whole life, it doesn't make sense a lot of the time. Even
Yeah.
just when it comes to the money, it doesn't. It's not logical. It's logical to someone who does it all.
They don't hit the nuances.
They don't get the customer and they don't understand the mindset. You know, so it's not like that's why you can't like have another corporation buy a Guitar Center and just apply the Walmart model.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of the Walmart model.
Yeah.
It work. Like instead of making every store exactly the same and having very minimal staff, you should have just had a lot less stores that had fucking great staff. Because it's all about the staff. It's the only thing that matters. You
We've
can buy
been
Les
together
Paul
since I've been a kid.
anywhere.
Yeah. Like we're all
Right.
lifers.
But you could buy a Les Paul from why would you want to go somewhere where every time you go there it's different people? You know, you want to go where your guy knows the kind of guitars you like and they make that connection. And that's what the guitar business used to be about. But now it's much bigger and a lot of it's online. But even online, I have people I've sold many, many guitars to because I take good care of them. But they don't want to buy it from it just ubiquitous.
Oh, it's right.
You're right.
Yeah.
And they can send it back, they don't like it or whatever. But, you know, like, it just doesn't, it's its own little world. And it's like a club. And it's like a cult, whatever. It's
Big time.
you know, but you know, whatever it is, but we all think the same way. We all love the same thing. So to other people, it makes sense. And no one likes to listen to us talk about this stuff, except people like us. And everyone else is like, this is the most part. It's like me listening to someone talk about golf or whatever.
Hey, watch it though.
But I don't understand it. I just don't understand what they're saying. You know, no, it might be super awesome. I just don't understand
Yeah.
it. Like they just don't understand what we're saying, and it's annoying.
They're all language.
They're like talking about, I don't understand golf. So when guys are super passionate about it, it seems awesome. I just don't know what they're talking about. So it's very interesting to listen to a golf podcast.
It's all the same thing. It's all that little obsession.
Remember the guys who collected pens we would run into? Guys who, Danny was into all that stuff at Chelsea. So those guys who collect just about anything. And they're equally as passionate about it as we are about
There's a
everything.
petite version of everything.
Like
that
everything.
everything.
Shoes.
Yeah.
Those guys who collect sneakers. We knew one. Who was that guy? And they've
Sneaker ball.
collected different sneakers. Like
Sneaker ball.
yeah, you
Is
get
it night sneaker ball?
Yeah, that's day sneaker ball.
yeah,
Day sneaker ball.
Yeah, afternoon sneaker ball.
yeah. That's good for a band, right? Anyway, we don't dress horribly. But that's why like the guitar business is its own little universe for people like us because we can't operate in any other universe.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the guitar business, you were, if I'm not mistaken, one of the managers or the manager of Chelsea Guitars in the ground floor of the Chelsea Hotel.
Yeah, that's where we met.
That's where I met.
When I was, that's
So you got decades and decades of
I was very
guitar
fortunate.
retail business, guitar collecting business, vintage guitar.
I was just in the right place at the right time. I hung out there because everyone hung out there.
Doug, that was like 21 years ago when we met.
Yeah.
So you've seen it go from like vintage is kind of a thing
that to the
like
internet.
now it's like, oh my
Right.
God, they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, I worked in a vintage guitar shop in college. 10 years before that, when they were just used guitars.
A lot of history, a lot of knowledge.
I just always done this one thing because it's the only thing.
And you've always played live.
And I've never not been into bands.
That's one of those guys that from across the block, he's like, oh yeah, it's an original 52, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not that good.
Yeah,
We have friends who are that good. Yeah.
The front screws.
No, I'm not that good.
We have,
I'm lucky enough to know guys who are that.
we have a few freaks in the.
Yeah.
Pickup's not original, I can tell you.
I can tell some stuff, but I don't know as much as people think I do.
Oh,
To be honest. Sorry, but but it's true because there's guys like Mojo and Peter Stewart and those guys, and you could rattle off 20 names. I'm sorry if I'm leaving anyone out, but those are the two guys I know. And they know exactly when that screw switched.
Yeah.
Which month, which
that
day.
wall.
I don't know that much. I asked them. Because I was busy selling guitars.
One of the other
Like at Chelsea, I wasn't really sitting there taking them apart, looking at them. I was selling them.
That's where I was lucky. I was doing both. I was selling,
Right.
then taking.
So I
apart.
should probably know more than I know, but I know all the guys who know. So like we send pictures to our friend Mojo all day.
Another one of
Yeah.
those guys is Scott Slamford.
Oh,
He owned the Chicago Music Exchange.
I knew him then.
Before.
20
I knew him back then
years.
because all my friends worked there, and Scott was the owner, and we were the guys who worked at our shop.
Yeah.
So if I needed new Gibsons, I'd call
He's the guy.
the guy Heath, who was at the other one in Chicago, worked for Scott.
Yeah.
He's at Rock and Roll something in Chicago. So it was Heath, and he was the guy who worked in Chicago music back then. He had my equivalent job.
Yeah.
So I remember I watched the reissue Gibson as G when they came out. I called you thinking,
Yeah.
I could call us. We're all buddies. So Kevin Borden.
Yeah.
Because he worked with those dudes. So then there was no internet. So it was, you just call guys.
Yeah, it was a roll.
it was, then it was
Scott's one of those guys, was one of those guys, and then he sold
years ago.
CME to Reverb,
But he has his own place.
and then Etsy bought it.
Right.
And they bought it for $21 million or something. And then
Fender bought it.
they just sold it to Fender.
Right.
The parent company.
Yes, the parent company. So now Reverb is owned by
But there's so many guys you can say the thing on that side. And I'll still get,
Yeah.
look at Nacho, wrote those Black Art book. Look at that level of knowledge. Like, if you read the Black Art book, you could know a lot of stuff. But it's not the same as being able to tell. Because with the Black Art book, you can make a fake that's exactly right, because here's the inside of a Black Art.
But there's a texture of the paint that you can look in the light.
Right, the certain
stuff
things
like that.
that you can tell, but the
person.
guys have gotten so good at replicating that. I've done it.
It's
There's
wild.
a Rodecaster right there. We do aged finishes.
Yeah.
They get closer and closer every year we do it. But that looks like a Black Art thing. I'm sure like.
And you have one, and that's the
And I have a Black one, right?
That's the
sold
thing.
probably 75 Black Arts in my time.
Yeah.
Hell's
played all of those.
I played them all.
Yeah.
So you start to get an idea of what a real one looks like. But now there's so many replicas like this, and this isn't a replica because it has a bad side. But so many relic guitars that you can't tell. like reissue stuff that can real one stuff that can fake. So like you gotta go to a guy like Peter or Mojo and say like, dude, is this, you can't trust yourself. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it $100,000 for a guitar like that as I talk to someone else and stuff like, this is right, isn't it?
Or is coming for buzz or
People just don't trust yourself.
People put Fender logos on it, faking the pencil signatures and the dates. And
they've been doing that since the 80s.
Yeah, but they're
They get the lap steel.
oh, the date's right. It's like, is the
But that's why if you buy the Blackboard book, it's all like there that you need to do, but you can't fool one of those cats. The way the router came through.
Yeah.
Well, Peter, they say it smells.
Yeah.
Like nothing
I
smells.
smell. Yeah.
I have no sense of smell. It doesn't work for me. But there's certain smell to these things. And you can't, how are you gonna fake that?
I want to make a perfume. That'd be fun.
Right. Yeah, we talked about
Like
that.
1950s Fender case.
Yeah.
1950s Gibson case.
You be sure to never talk to a member of the opposite sex.
What's that? I'm married.
Which is what's going to happen anyway if you're that into these things anyhow. So
Fine.
it's just a byproduct of being a total nerd.
So,
But yeah, there's guys who are so far down the rabbit hole, So I was always just very busy selling guitars. Like literally all day, every day, like with a customer in your face. So
Yeah.
like a nerd or a cannabis.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues there. But but that was my job. It wasn't my job to say what was real or not.
Yeah.
That was Danny's job, Or GE came in every day, gee, is this real?
Yeah.
Who knows more about guitars than that? Richie Freeman would roll in. These guys are rolling all day. So is this right? Like Jay Scott, Jay Scott told me the one thing that I've always gone by, because he would be called to go do a White Penguin. This is back then. It was a $200,000 guitar. It was the most expensive. It was more than the Burst.
Yeah, that was it.
There were only 8 of them. He was getting called all the time to see them. So there's a lot of fakes out there. And I was like, you ever not know? And I said, no, the thing is, when you open the case, it'll scream at you.
Something.
Scream at you, right. And if it doesn't scream that at you, something's off. Now you got to go to work.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Then you're
sometimes you open it, you're like, that's right, I don't have, and Joe Bonamassa, I think, said something like that.
Yeah,
So
if
it's
you
like,
have to open it.
if you have to do anything, it's not right. There's something, it could be have some overspray or something, but you just know right when you see it, if you've seen it. So Jay,
Well, he said if you have to open it up, this isn't the game for you.
right, he's got a very cool take on things. It's just like,
He was a kid
this
too.
is this, and he's got very cool opinions of the way you love guitars, and I really like what he says most of the time. But Jay's thing was right will scream at you every time, and if it doesn't scream that at you,
Something is a
could be
bit.
right. There could be some overspray. Now you got to go to work and find out why it's not screaming that.
Yeah.
So I always just go by that. Like if you open the thing, you know it right. It's like you've seen enough right. But seeing it in person, seeing it on the internet are not the same thing. So unless you've worked in a vintage guitar shop for however many years and seeing these things, you wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
And those guys have seen way more stuff than I have. Like Mojo and Peter took apart every single guitar that ever came in. And looked at every single, and they were documenting. They were basically writing a book. They didn't realize it, but they wrote down every single thing they saw. It compiled knowledge.
Yeah.
And these guys were deep down the rabbit hole. They could tell the month the screws went from flathead. They know because they saw this one, and here, and there's where they changed.
Yeah, they're next to each other.
And it's all not in the motto, but and the podcast are book. Jesus.
Yeah.
I took 5 books. I'm still going through that.
And we also grew up with Danny, who had the red
podcast,
40.
right? So
We got to hang out with that
In that
thing and
book.
hear G. Smith tell us all about it.
I remember when they were buying that.
Yeah.
It's like it was a whole
what year
thing.
was that?
It was a 49.
No, what year did this happen?
That was probably
90s?
no, maybe right after that, maybe early 2000s. So they'd come up for sale. Danny wasn't sure. GE was on. It was away.
Yeah.
They were doing this on the phone, and G's gone to Danny like, "Look here, tell me what you see." And Danny said this. Yep.
Yeah. Click.
There's certain things that have to be. Only certain guys would know. Like Mojo knows that.
Like a little shelf for that little
This little thing, is that rounded off or is it not rounded?
Yeah.
off? That's how deep down. But if it's not, then it's not right. It's not how they made
And it was hand red sparkle DuPont.
Well, that was
after.
Because a lot of I didn't realize podcasts, there were that many podcasts.
Yeah.
But there's tons of butterscotch
Number
podcasts.
9. Oh.
It was number 9, but it wasn't the 9.
not.
They say it got the
Second.
20th guitar,
But still.
it got serial number 9. So, but the pickups didn't work, and Danny didn't want to mess with them. So, but you just played his guitar, and this thing had no trouble.
Weird.
Like
It was the first 2 pickup.
yeah, and it was like so so the more of that stuff you play, I sold a lot of Blackguard. Especially when I started selling Blackguards at Chelsea, I think they were 5 green. Or when
That
I
was expensive.
I didn't have $5,000.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't have it.
Yeah.
You know, it's $5,000 was a black belt. You know, probably a purse was 30. You know, like, and and Strats, we always talk about the Strats are worth more than Tellys, which is not the case now. But, a 52 Strat, there isn't one. But, a 54 Strat was worth a hell lot more than a 50 Telly. Only country guys make Tellys. Like now a Telly eclipses a Stratocaster, the fact that it was all Stevie Ray Vaughan and Hendrix, so, LeBroy Buchanan played Tellys, like Keith, but it wasn't that big a deal. Now it's flipped, which is really odd, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Again, I think we digressed. But that's kind of what the podcast is for, really. It's just
Guitar.
Yeah, because, there's people who are just as weird who will listen to them and be like, yeah, that's true.
What else do we want to cover? Anything?
We could sort of begin to close down our thing because we are having a party here tonight. If any, this won't be posted. As far as that's really, I let everybody know party that happened 3 weeks ago. We're having a party, so we'll post some videos. But we are because Gio's in California, which is a big deal. And we have a bunch of Black Hole stuff, and we're playing, and we have parties here anyway because it's fun.
Yeah.
But we would like to thank Gio for being here.
Yeah.
And Tony, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do I say hi to everybody?
Thanks for listening.
But Tony is a huge part of Black Hole anyway, so it's not fair to you. But you could say hi, closing to everybody. And they are a lovely couple, and they are really Black Bolt amplifiers. And she's an incredible singer, of course, and they play music.
Yeah.
We've been playing music with Dutchie over the last couple days.
We've been living together the last couple of days at my house. It's been super fun, except they stay up
So if you want to come,
because I'm old.
We've been playing music together for 20-something years since we met.
Yeah, check out the music.
Since we started.
And Tony has a new record that's unbelievably good.
Yeah, Edge of the World is out, just released.
yeah.
So yeah, we just got back from Nashville. She played at the Americana Fest. It was an official Americana Fest showcase. So we played there, did that, Black Bolt backline, and we're here doing this.
And we want to thank Matt Hayden, if you want to come say hello. Matt is an amazing guitar repair guy. He's working with me at Mountain Cat Guitars, and he has his own shop, and he's opening a new shop of his own in Wayne, New Jersey.
New
Which
Jersey.
is called M. Hayden Guitar Co. And it's going to be awesome. The space is amazing. He's building it out right now. It'll be open probably by the time this goes up. So check out the website. You have a lot of my boutique gear there. And he's an amazing repair guy. So if you're near Jersey and you need a repair guy, he's your guy. Thank you, Doug. And of course, Eric, thank you for hosting.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
And Cobra, always a pleasure.
You got Sarah.
James.
Thanks, man.
Hey.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And thank you guys for listening and watching. And we'll try to do another one soon. Sorry it took us so long to do another podcast.
You have to invite him to the party then.
Oh, right. Yeah, don't come here tonight whenever you're watching this, because it could probably be 3 weeks ago. Bye, everybody.